We going live.
Up myself on nicotine.
There you go. Get that little. I'll get a little
Get
bit
the
of.
nicotine
I'm
streaming through my blood. Hey,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
live.
We live. Great
As I
topic.
dose myself with nicotine.
And as I prepare my.
Yeah, we're getting close to Christmas, buddy. It just
Yep.
kind of dawned on me how close we are to Christmas. Do you do any any Christmas stuff? Like, are you buying stuff, or does the wife do all that
I mean,
stuff for you?
I feel like I don't know with somebody recently turning the tap off on me, so to speak.
Oh well, no, I mean, you can still buy stuff that's not $1,200 and shit. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. In general, I'm trying to be responsible, and until I at least see for the foreseeable future the tap, I'm trying to lean up on the expenses. I'm still buying some things. I'm not going crazy, but yeah, I definitely will be buying a handful of things. Most of like the friends in my friend circle that I would have like some kind of gift exchange with are all like, "Don't you dare."
Oh,
I'm like, okay,
what do you
all right.
want for Christmas, by the way?
Don't worry about it.
No, is there any mics you're like, oh shit, I could use that? Oh, you know what? I've got a light for you. I've got an Amaran 100, 120D. I think a 100, 100D. Yeah, you got the 60D. This is the 100D. I was going to give that to you.
So does that mean it's 40% brighter? I hope not.
It's 40 more Ds.
Sweet. 60 actually. Or no, you gave me the 60. So yeah, it's a 40.
Yeah, you have a 60. It's 40 extra Ds. You got a lot of D up there, man. Liberty Dude, first in the chat, buddy. How's it going, buddy? What up, Friday gang? I like how we're part of the Friday gang. Photo Elite, how's it going? SR375, of course. Liberty Dude, what is the guess on the favorite thing of 2024? That's an interesting question because I'm still kind of, I'm planning to do like a recap of 2024 video and some of the best gear to come out. But I did kind of want to get your guys' perspective, even as a consumer that hasn't purchased, but you saw what came out, what you think is cool. I think it'll be fun. It must be the Plumbus X. Yeah, Plumbus. Don't know about favorite, but least favorite has got to be the Stream Deck XLR dock. I thought about putting out a video about the worst gear to come out in a year, like the best and worst of 2024. Oh, yeah. It can get pretty toxic when you start doing that shit, though. And I'm trying to not be a super toxic.
Well, it's just begging for drama, right? I mean, as you found, anytime you kind of put down a product, even if you're fully honest with that, there's still people that will take like personal offense to you insulted something that they bought.
And I do find like there's a line, like I find I'm one of the reviewers that's pretty hardline on stuff. Like I have boundaries. I'm good. Like if you release it with cheap plastic, I've got to call you out on it and stuff like that. I'm not very forgiving. Like I'm not like, well, it's okay. I get that. But I find when I'm going out to pick the fight outside of a review, I feel like it gets a little toxic. And it can be like now I'm just trying to.
You spend more time doing damage control than it's worth.
Yeah. And I don't mind doing it for review, but I don't think I'm going to like start shitting on products on a year-end list. Sorry, I missed that. Liberty Dude, paperclip holding the zipper up. That is just sheer will and not eating as many potato chips holding that zipper up. Stream Deck integration, the Rode Video Mixer has... Oh, Liberty Dude, you got a good point. And you know what irks me? They released that with no fanfare. They didn't tell me that was coming out. I haven't seen any other creators do videos on that. It's just like, boom, hey, we have integration with the Stream Deck. And I got caught so flat-footed this week because I've just signed up for too much and I'm like doing so much.
Oh yeah.
I would have had a video out on that. I'm really interested in the Stream Deck integration with the Rodecaster video. I do have a video coming out on it. I'm probably going to do it within the next week or so. But like that was one of those things where like that would have been a perfect Wednesday video this week. But yeah, they kind of dropped that on us. And I'm pretty sure it's because they have like it was probably an Elgato kind of centric thing too. So it's them working with Elgato and that's why they released it the way they did. But still, I was like, damn, where'd that come from? Autofile grade pickles is the best thing this year.
Sure.
I'd listen to a pickle.
I can entertain that idea.
House. Dylan wants a Plumbus X. Do you want a Plumbus X? I forget what the Plumbus X joke was from. So there's so many inside jokes on this channel.
Yep.
Anyone else having issues with Dylan being like 4 times as loud as me?
We always seem to have some problem with this. I mean, I don't move the fader. It sits in the same place all week long, so I don't know what the hell.
And I see your levels. Your levels are fine. This must. So go into your settings on StreamYard, and let me know if they've got the auto
leveler or whatever.
Settings. Yeah, the auto leveler. That's because my auto leveler is off.
I'm pretty sure I turned it off, but that stuff tends to creep up. Reduce mic background noise is off. Echo cancellation is on. Automatically adjust mic volume is off.
Turn it on.
Turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, no, but it's just going to like level it for this. So guys, if you hear whether or not Dylan is the same volume as me, let me know.
What's changed? Anything changing? Anything better?
Changing is Dylan still super loud.
Super loud. Super loud.
Play nice in the house.
I'm hitting 0.
Also other big noise or noise. Other big noise.
Hey.
DJ Play Nice. Thanks for posting. Yeah, cheers, buddy. Aiden, what mic are you using? I've got the Rode NTG3 that I've been rocking for, I would say, the past 4 months. I've moved over to the Rode NTG3 off the MKH416. It requires for my voice a little bit extra tweaking on the EQ when I'm doing talking head videos and I'm not doing a review on stuff, but it also kind of has my head around you. With the MKH416, I was able to literally push that out without much EQ. Like literally I could put it out and nobody would be able to tell. I found that my EQing was getting a little weak when I was starting to get in there and like play with stuff. So I moved over to this, not just for that. I do like the sound. And it's also, I was trying to find out whether or not I was having warble with the MKH416, which I'm pretty sure I was, but I think that was because of my old setup. And this is my setup now. So, and TG3, Rick and Morty. Nice. Yeah. I don't know what to say yet, but I'm writing this message in case we won't miss out on the obligatory mentioning of my own name this week. Jerker.
Inside jokes.
Hey,
I love it.
Jerker. Well, it's not so much inside. You hear that? You know what we're going for. I'd to auto adjust off and set slider for 60%. Bumping up and down by QAing the amplitude of the YouTube feed. Wow. So Dylan's still popping off. Dylan's still super loud.
Yeah, so obviously
I'm looking at my levels. So I've got, actually I can screen share this stuff. Let's just fucking screen share, man. Let's do it.
Spill that
share
tea.
Screen. Where's the road? A window. Where's Road Central? Control. Oh, it only shows me the one screen, Road Central. Oh, you know what? I'll just share my whole screen. Entire screen. There's nothing on here that's going to get me in trouble.
Yeah. Always good to double check.
I want to find out before I do. All those certain tabs are closed, right?
Those certain tabs, yeah.
Who uses, oh, wow, that is Inception right there. So here's the Roadcaster video. Dylan, you feel free to talk.
Talking, check.
So you can see the output for Dylan is up here.
No.
And he's on USB 1 chat. And then you got my levels. I'm sitting basically at the same spot as Dylan.
Yeah, more or less.
There doesn't seem to be any issues audio-wise. Now, do you hear any? Am I super low on your end there, Dylan?
No, I can't tell because I have nothing to compare it to, right? I can't hear myself right now. So I just have the volume knob where it needs to be for me to hear you. So I don't know how loud you are objectively.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to up myself. There we go. I'll give myself a little more volume.
A little more juice. That's a lot more. What's that? Was that 12 dB? Would you? Oh, no, 6 dB. Yeah. Okay.
Cranked her by 6. Yeah. Wait, you can turn me down on your end. Don't worry. I think that's pretty much it. That's going to be good. So I'll stop.
Yeah, let us know. Keep us posted. If we're sounding wonky and unbalanced.
Ain't a live stream if it's not scuffed. Amen, Photo Elite.
Pretty much.
You know what? If we had a team, a digital team actually working with us like LTT did, that'd be great. Kron.
Or just a dedicated producer. A dedicated live stream producer.
You know, that would be amazing. It would really be amazing. Oh, lots to talk about. You both seem close to level to me. Perfect. Liberty
Sweet.
Dude in a house. Not super loud, just louder, totally listenable and not distracting. Corn. Yeah, corn tabs. Nobody wants to see all my bushels. Right? Better balance now. Okay, we're getting so first thing, I moved over. I'm now an Apple guy with my cell phone. I bought an iPhone this week.
Mazel tov.
So the question is, and I'll post this for everybody. Actually, you know what? I did forget to do one thing. Because I moved over to a an Apple phone, am I obligated to put out the YouTube video of Android user switches to Apple? Is that like something I have to do now? Dylan?
Question. I mean, I don't care personally, but I mean that's an interesting content idea.
It's overdone. Every time there's a new release. Yeah. And like every time there's a new release, you see that Android. And like I've thought about it because I'm actually kind of middle of the road. I don't like the integration. I don't like a lot of things that Apple does, but it's because I'm not used to it. It's like moving to another DAW where you're like, why is it up over there? That's stupid.
Oh yeah, totally. That's exactly what it is.
It's like little things like where all the notifications are and stuff like that is frustrating. But at the same time,
like I got a good quick story on that. So I'm in some Pro Tools groups on Facebook, just user groups. And I saw this one post from this guy. It's like, does anybody else hate the new playlist, like track playlisting setup since update, October update basically? And I was like, I haven't actually checked out playlisting since I updated. So I went and checked, and like they changed the solo button in the playlist was changed from like yellow and with an S to green and with a speaker symbol as the solo button. Oh my God. And that from so far, that's all I can tell is the difference. So I'm like, but again, it's one of those things like, I don't like it. It looks weird. I don't like it.
They changed colors.
Color of a button.
It reminds me of back in the day, like we're talking 2012, whenever Facebook would update their UI, people would literally, this is unusable. I'm not using this app ever again. Yep. And guess what? They're all still now 55 to 60 and still there.
They're still there.
Dylan's up with compressive range, while Aiden has more open dynamics with a bit of Biden low speak too.
Biden. You're not using a 57. What the hell?
Yeah. That's amazing. If y'all want tabs, I'm normally rocking about 20 to 30 tabs at any given moment in my browser.
Preach.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
you said you're good at tab management. Shut up. You said you specifically told me that you're good at
I am, as long as I'm not mid-project. So, we'll get into some of the projects I'm taking on. I really want to continue the second channel. The work to reward ratio, like I'm almost at 600 subs on the thing. I could crush it to over 1,000 if I had a video editor that was able to pump out one a week. I can't because I want to do, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but I want to start utilizing gear a little bit more. And that second channel, as much as I want to, I can write, I can produce, or I can put in all the hosting stuff. I can the green screen the shit out of it. But when push comes to shove, the edit is just one step too far. It takes me away from everything else I'm trying to do. I don't know where I was going with this. Anyways, ISR 375, you do not have to do a Switch video. Way overdone Switch videos. Don't worry, I'm not going to do a Switch video. What I might highlight are some of the reasons why I did. Not necessarily like I'm switching from Android, because funny enough, I still have my Android phone and I still use this, just not for phone stuff. This is a lot of studio connectivity, but I also kept it because of the ability to use it as the two-step verification. I did actually have to keep this.
And transferring some of that shit over can be a real pain in the butt.
Oh man, I'm scared. I was scared doing this because there's so much behind 2FA that I'm like, okay, well, And so like all my YouTube channels are through 2FA and all that stuff. So, but there's one app on here that I really made the choice for, and that is the ability to, oh fuck, I can't even find it. Final Cut Pro on your cell phone. And one of the reasons, like I said, I always do my top down with my cell phone, and now the ability to actually shoot and just ingest, like without doing anything. Oh man, I'm going to live that life. So first things first, before we get into the best gear of 2024, which I kind of hope, guys, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think the best gear of this year was. I feel like it was a bit of a light year, but there's an asterisk beside that. But hit me up in the comments and we will discuss in a few. But first, I did want to say I'm launching a podcast. I did mention a few months ago that I really wanted to start utilizing things that I have. Like there's so much podcast gear in this room without a podcast to do. So I've decided I wanted to start one with Dylan, and that's actually still being worked on. But I've launched an old concept that I've had for years. I'm not going to re-release what it was. I've talked about it before on this podcast or on this show. But I've got my first guest lined up. It will be an interview style podcast, but it's going to be a fun one. A little bit of storytelling. My first guest is Bobby Chacon, who is an ex-FBI agent, retired FBI. But this guy has been at the forefront of all news. He gained critical acclaim. He gained notoriety. That's probably a better way of putting it. Because he was part of the FBI dive team that recovered bodies by some pretty well-known serial killers. One was Israel Keys out of Alaska. He found one of the bodies of one of his victims. He also found the body of a mother in the San Francisco area that was murdered by her husband. That was a big, high-profile case. This guy's like, whenever they need like a pundit on news to talk about whatever's going on, like right now they're talking about the CEO of that insurance company that got pegged in New York. He's on there talking about, tracking down the guy and all that stuff. So he's like the first one. If you've ever seen an ex-FBI guy or a counterintelligence kind of guy that's on news, it's probably been Bobby Chacon, and he's going to be my first guest. And I'm lining up more guests as we go, and I'm looking at launching this in the new year. This is something I tried to launch last year before a few wrenches hit the fan. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's looking like this is one of the things that I wanted to do this for is I want to have the Rodecaster video working. Like I want this. Yeah, we use it during the live streaming. That's great. Like, cool. I get to use the Rodecaster video, but I'm not really utilizing it to the greatest extent it can be until Dylan and I are live in a studio together doing our Friday live. I feel like it's like, I just want to put this thing through more paces. I want to build it out and do what I can with it. And this is going to be the process for that. So yeah, new podcast. I'll let you know what it is once I get 3 episodes done, and it's going to have a YouTube channel as well. So it's going to be both video and podcast. So cool. Now,
nice.
Let's get thoughts, Dylan, by the way. You know what it is, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I've read the script.
Do you think it's going to be good?
The episode is. I'll be interested to see you turn it into an episodic, turn it into a series, and just keep kind of lining those up. I know I like talking to people. So running an interview show, I did a little bit of that in college, as you know, briefly. Yep. And it's fun. It's fun digging into people's lives, the careers, unpacking some learnable lessons, some teachable lessons. But I just never got around to it because it's like once you kind of establish that, it's like, okay, now, like I would do it if somebody was, if I could just be like, okay, find somebody that does this. And I had a, production team that would go out and find, viable candidates for interviews. Because that takes up a lot of your time, as I'm sure you know.
So candidates isn't that bad. The research of the said candidate is brutal. Like when I was getting your Bobby Chacon on.
Look, because you don't want to ask, like, I hate to say it, but you don't want to ask like Letterman questions. You want to ask like actual engaging, open-ended questions that elicit an emotional response. That's what you want.
If you're trying to direct through a story, like if you're trying to take them for a walk, that's how I've always envisioned storytelling interviews, where you're trying to basically. And one of the things that I tell people when they're starting a podcast is when you're doing interviews, you need to know the answers before you ask the question, because that's the whole purpose. And the very, very odd time that you're asking a question that's relatively open-ended that you don't know the answer is going to be something that maybe they've never talked about before. So you always, as an interviewer, need to almost always know the answer. And in knowing that, the amount of research you have to do, and then from that research to boil it down to a narrative that you're going to play all the way through. You watch people like Barbara Walters back in the day. She would she had a plan going in, and she had a team of 30 people doing the research and developing concepts for it. So I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm actually quite nervous to do this, but I'm also excited as well. So should be fun. Hey, Red Cabin's in the house. How's it going, Red Cabin? Bitwarden is a great password manager and can do 2FA as well as sync across platforms. I've considered, I've never actually taken the plunge. Google Authenticator I dabbled with. But yeah, that's actually good. I might go in and do something like that, because that is concern, but it's also like, some of it's attached to emails, and I have multiple emails across radio emails, and then YouTube emails. And then I've got it going to certain phone numbers. Then it goes to certain phones, right? It's like, your Galaxy S23, check it. It's like, oh crap. I've got my Note 10 here. I've got multiple Samsung products just sitting around. Yeah. Having that all kind of bunched together might be a good idea. Hassan Niz, how's it going, buddy? Only 20 to 30 tabs, amateur numbers. Oh, I can't. I get 20 to 30. I'm shitting my pants. I cannot do it. Roadcaster was built for Zoom meetings. Yeah, you know what? Like, this is kind of a glorified Zoom meeting. No offense, Dylan.
Yeah, no, that's basically what we're doing.
But I've done Zoom meetings in this exact spot doing this, and you get a lot of like rolled eyes when you do this. Like, I turn on all the studio lights. Actually, I think I've got to change my brightness settings. But
you're a little blown out there.
I'm a little bit blown out. But where was I? Oh yeah. So I've done a couple, and you can see the eyes rolling because you turn on all the lights, but it's like, I'm not going to unplug my computer, take it to a dimly lit room just so you feel better about your background. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got to use it. I mean, that's always been my philosophy.
True, but any more than that, and Photoshop will start lagging on me. Oh God.
No, I get reactions having the RE27 in the frame. They're like, really? I'm like, it's what's there, man. That's its job. Yeah. It's okay. Like, don't get mad at me because, I happen to have more stuff than I know what to do with.
Well, it's funny too, because I keep this usually out of shot, the NTG3, and
but yeah, because you don't need to have it in shot.
Yeah, but then you get the question like, what are you talking through? You sound really good. I'm like, okay, well, it's just a $1,000 microphone off to the side. Ignore that.
Yeah. Pay no heed.
Yeah. So I think it'll be an interesting chance for me to expand on Dark Corner Media, as this is considered. Everything's kind of under Dark Corner Studios umbrella. I haven't decided if we're going Dark Corner Media, but I also feel like it's time, flexing certain muscles that have to be flexed to be in this space. I feel like it's, just being a YouTuber is one thing, and I need to open up my time to be able to the concept of this channel is quite YouTube podcast based. And I feel like, it's been a while since I had a very successful podcast outside of editing for one. So I think it's time that I build up another successful podcast. So anyways, seeing that everybody's kind of gone quiet in the comments, let's talk about the best gear of 2024. Dylan, standouts. I will have to point out, there is stuff from this year that I forgot came out this year. Like, I full on forgot were released this year because of how crazy it was.
I mean, crazy, but at the same time, kind of underwhelming at the same time as well. Like, I mean, in my mind, there weren't that many, at least, again, in my vertical, and I'm not every vertical, so I can't speak for every line of business, but for me, there wasn't a lot. I mean, again, for me, I think the why am I drawing a blank? Rode mic, Interview Pro. The Interview Pro,
There you go.
that was really good. I've used that several times for voicing stuff. I've
Yeah.
used that for even as a wireless mic a couple of times. It works great. It's actually a really useful tool to have in the kit bag.
I might actually reach out to Rode to see if I can get another one, but if I can't, I'm gonna have to borrow that back for when I go to Vegas.
Yeah, totally.
I booked my flight, by the way, so I'm good to
Nice.
go. That's gonna be fun. If I can get enough money put together, I'll get you a flight in. I'll see what happens over the next couple months. Yeah, so Interview Pro is one of my favorites from this year. It's such a cool little mic that solves a problem, but also kind of came in under the radar. It's like, the fact that it works with all the Rodecaster stuff and it records on board. It's 32-bit float. When I used it in Vegas, it was awesome. Like, and that show floor was nuts loud. Like, it was ridiculously loud, and no issues with it whatsoever. The audio was fantastic. I couldn't say enough good things about it. Can you stop eating? Go lay down. Talking to my son. I think that one was top of my list. Rodecaster Video is an obvious choice. But there's something.
Yeah. I've used it. Obviously, I don't own one, so I can't speak to it extensively. But yeah, I mean, as far as, I don't know, groundbreaking releases this year, I think Rodecaster Video for sure.
Yeah, it's the first. It's not the first of its kind. I get that. I'm gonna get so many people like, it's not the first. But the integration of it with, like, to me, it's like, and I constantly compare them to the Apple ecosystem. If you were to go out and just buy a MacBook, like a MacBook Air, it'd be like, yeah, it's cool. It's a nice little laptop. It's great. But it doesn't really start to shine until you start to move the rest of your experience over to Apple. When you get an iPhone, when you get a Mac Mini or a Mac computer, then you start to see like the ecosystem really like flesh out. And that's kind of the way Rode is as well. Like, you go buy the Interview Pro. Cool. It's a great little mic. It works. It's fantastic. But then you're like, okay, then you go out and you buy the Wireless Pro, or you buy the Wireless Go 2, or you buy the Rodecaster Pro, or all these things that it can integrate with, and all of a sudden now it has so much more behind it. And I think that's what I loved about, like, to me, using the Interview Pro. To somebody that doesn't have all this Rode gear, maybe they're looking at it going, so? But for me, it's like, no, it's awesome. It does all this stuff. The integration with the Wireless Pro was beautiful. I loved that part of it. So I don't know. The thing for me, though, the big one for me has been, and I forgot these were released in January, the Mackie DLZ Creator XS.
Oh yeah.
To this day, I have not stopped using that on my main PC rig. That has been my main go-to on my PC rig since it came out. It is literally perfect. Now, I don't do much on my PC rig, like professional use. I edit podcasts with it, but I don't like do hardcore recording with it. But as like a hub for all my stuff, and I'm actually doing a video up on how to connect a PS5 to it with an HDMI audio splitter. That's going to be coming out later. But like, it's just that perfect hub of everything that just, it works so well. I love that thing. But yeah, I'm like, with a lot of the other things outside of those main releases, Elgato with the Stream Deck Plus with the XLR, that one's not at the top of my list. Although the Stream Deck Plus is awesome. I struggle. I do have to say, the amount of wireless that has come out this year, I do love the Saramonic. I've still got the Sennheiser profile USB mic that I'm working on the video. It's ran into a small snag, but it is coming. The DJI, I think I'm going to have to buy that one. I reached out to them. I haven't heard back, but I am going to be picking that one up. The wireless kind of, this wireless kind of flood that's happening right now, I'm really into. I really love that. I love that it's becoming more integrated with things like cell phones. Like I do love the Saramonic. Jesus, where is it? The idea that these things are coming with little clips for cell phone connection, right? And that's not just the Saramonic that's doing that. It's you've got that on the Sennheiser and all that. So that's really cool to see that kind of stuff happening as well. And I love that there's like options at different price points across the board, which is really cool. Nice. This is just stupid funny. I love the shit out of this. This thing kind of gives the Rode Interview Pro a run for its money. The Sennheiser Profile Wireless, which is just cool all around. Outside of that though, I struggle to like really figure out what else I would like. Oh yeah. Came out in 2024 is amazing.
Well, I mean, you know, the H Essential series, that was really a solid
Oh man, I still got hate on that today even. Man.
Really?
Yeah, some guy was like, oh, he makes fun of the plastic. If it was made out of metal, he wouldn't be so. I'm like, oh God. You know, there's varying degrees of plastic, right? Not everything has to be like, anyways. Hassan, I don't need the Rode Interview Pro, but I really want it. It is, if you do anything that you would need a Rode Wireless Pro for, or Rode Wireless, or like interviewing or presentation, it's freaking awesome. I love the Rode Interview Pro. It is one of my favorite things that isn't in my locker because I gave it to Dylan. Will the Barber TV? I was thinking of getting a Zoom P4. I need to plug 2 XLR mics, phantom power to record iPhone or SD. Zoom P4 is one of the best still. I would say, Will the Barber TV, right now, the Scarlett, what do they call those things? The podcast mixer. Scarlett podcast. Oh. What is it called? Vocaster. Thank you.
God. Vocaster.
The Vocaster 1 or Vocaster 2 is, I believe you need the Vocaster 2. Super cheap right now and fantastic. The P4 by Zoom is fantastic if you need up to 4 or if you need like other things. But if you can just do 2 mics and you still have the option of cell phone connection and all that stuff, the Vocaster is a great option right now. Something that I'm surprised like other companies haven't tried to stomp the P4 out for how powerful it is. And I'm surprised the Vocaster is still struggling. It fills such a need within the kind of that price point. It's really hard to find stuff at that price point that is good. And the P4 is fantastic. But yeah, the Vocaster, super cheap. I believe it's cheaper than the P4 right now. And I think it's just a little bit, I think it has better integration and it has all the DSP effects for it. So that might be worth it. Good dog, yeah. I can't just justify the price of the Rodecaster video for my use case, but I'm slowly warming to it. Yeah, it's pretty, it's like the ultimate. Like, I'm not saying everybody should go out and buy Rodecaster video, but like I have 2 video sources going into this thing and somehow it gave a thumbs up. I have 2 video sources going into this. I don't utilize this enough as I could. Like, I wish I could utilize this more. And that's the whole purpose of moving into a podcast and all that stuff. Yeah, like it's the ultimate. It's literally the ultimate for me. I freaking love the thing. I used to use standalone units like the Boss 1200 for music. Wouldn't that serve the same purpose for audio? I have no idea what the Boss 1200 is.
The BR 1200, I think it's a multi-track recorder. It's like a CD job. It's fairly old. Good.
Yeah, the BR 1200 CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're willing to the BR 1180, still they're pretty expensive, man.
Yeah, they were pretty big units. They had a lot going on.
Yeah, digital multi-track recorder. I mean, technically, yeah, you might have a problem with getting like cell phone. I don't know if you can have loopback, not loopback, but the cancellation signal. Mix minus, thank you. I don't know if you've got mix minus on that stuff. If you're getting like other feeds in for interviews and stuff, that might be a bit of a problem.
Well, that's it. That like media feature set is different from the music feature set, right? Music is like, oh man, it's got a good compressor on it. Like, it's not
But
like,
I
oh,
mean,
hey, it's got
if you're
Bluetooth.
just doing 2 mics in and
Yeah.
it's just you and a buddy shooting the shit, yeah, of course you can. Just you've got to get that to a digital file. So if you don't have a CD burner, that might be rough.
Yeah.
Or the
Well, I
ability
know
to rip CDs.
it's got USB and stuff on it too. So, I mean, you can get stuff off that way. I used one a long time ago, but I haven't seen one in a hot minute.
This is a good question. Hassan Niz says, when you say mic locker, I picture your mics are in a locked safe. Is that so? Are you casing my house, Hassan? I just keep them in my regular closet or drawers. Yeah, no, I keep mine on a shelf right beside me. That's quite messy at the moment.
It's
I
a
do
term that
have
comes from the music industry. When you're in a recording
yeah.
studio, it's called the mic locker. That's just where you put the mics.
This
It's not
behind
literally
me
locked.
is this technically is locked behind me. This is my I guess mic locker. I've got a lot of my microphones that aren't in cases. So most microphones nowadays come with little like I call them toiletry cases.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have that are in this thing. So this thing's jammed full of microphones behind me. So yeah, I don't keep them under lock and key though, because it's my own personal house and I have 2 very grumpy dogs that do not like strangers. So I had a guy, so you got one of the favorite ways to case a house, and you'll see it a lot of days. If you're out, somebody will ask you a question, and usually it seems like a benign question and it doesn't really mean much. And I kept seeing this guy around our house, and I walk my dogs twice a day, either me or the wife, and he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, are your dogs friendly?" I'm like, that's a weird question. And as soon as he asked it, he took a step forward with his hand out. Both dogs went to rip his face off. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't really break into my house. And he had no other questions. It's all he wanted to know was whether or not my dogs were friendly. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's breaking into my house anytime soon. Clint, good day, guys from Australia. What do you think is going to be the next big thing in audio gear? Clint, that is a great freaking question. So we've got a live stream coming up. Myself, Podcastage, Bandrew from Podcastage. I'm still trying to get Bark. I have not heard back from Bark, which is weird, but I think I've got another big name coming in. I think I'm working on it. We're nailing down the details. And this is one of the questions that I'm going to be fielding with the rest of the guys. I think it has something to do with expanded DSP. I think that's for me, the only way that it can go is that video was this year. I think we're going to see more video coming. I think you're going to see more companies, perhaps even Rode, rolling out more video options.
Well, especially I think companies, and the Rodecaster Video does a great job of challenging this idea that video stuff has to be exclusively video and audio stuff. Like you can't run those things together. And so I think we are going to see, my prediction is we're going to see more products that kind of marry good audio and good video together in like a kind of a uniform solution, because the need for high-end audio and high-end video together is growing, right? There's lots of podcasts going video, and where that's happening, you've got a big market niche for people that need stuff that can do good video and good audio at the same time.
And I find one of the things that I love what Rodecaster Video did with the 4 inputs is, for a good podcast with 2 people, you need at least 3 angles. Like there's no way about it. Every person needs their own angle, and then there needs to be a group angle. So you need to have each person, even if you could get like 2 people with 4 angles, you're even better. So like I can see more gaming stuff coming out. I'm surprised Elgato hasn't done it yet. Elgato's leaned in with their webcam. But I could also see some branded cameras coming out. Not necessarily USB cameras, but I could see some branded cameras coming out and stuff like that. But I think like expanded DSP, more video options. Again, I'm surprised Elgato hasn't done something like that. And with Elgato's integration with Rodecaster, like having the Stream Deck Plus or the Stream Deck and the Rodecaster Video married together, like who knows? That is an awesome tag team as far as I'm concerned. Like having something as powerful as a Stream Deck work in tandem with the Rodecaster video. That means you could have two controllers for the Rode. Like if Dylan and I were doing a podcast, Dylan could have his own control. That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like that is awesome. Very awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Outside of that, I struggle to see where, like, the 32-bit float crap, when everyone started to put that on their interfaces and that kind of stuff. And, gain used.
I feel like 2022 was the year of the broadcast mic.
Oh yeah, the broadcast mic. Yeah.
No. 2022 was that. 2023 was 32-bit float. This year it's been, a mixed bag of video integration and AI stuff. Obviously, AI stuff is still, people won't shut up about AI stuff.
Between 2020 and 2021, a lot of gain started like popping out. People like Zoom with their P4 and the P8, they started like upping it to like 70 dB of gain, which was kind of unheard of. Like 70 dB of gain was ridiculous when the P4
that you'd find that on like ribbon mic preamps, or preamps intended for ribbon mics. But other than that, that was a pretty rare number.
Okay, Will, thanks for the response. I appreciate it. Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, it's an old unit, good sound quality though, but outdated. Outdated is relative. Like you can still, like, I wanted to do a series, but can you podcast with it? And that was a joke. Like Dylan's old workplace, they had like a big reel to reel, and I wanted to do a video, but can you podcast with it? And like, yeah, you can, as long as you can record and you got a way to get that recording and turn it into a digital file. Of course you can. It's just more work.
Well, so, that's it. The level of savviness required. It's just like, again, but will a U87 give you a good sound? Yeah. And relatively easily. But, cheaper mics, you can still get good sounds out of them, but it requires more prowess to get there than it does to take, the high-end $10,000 product to do whatever it is.
King Paco's in the house. How you doing? And he says he's punching himself. I meant Monday's sell and Friday's ale. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Rode mic USB was 160. The original mic of Rode was 80. Are you talking about the pod mic USB? Because if the pod mic USB was 160, that's a damn good deal. Yeah. Don't worry. Boxing Day, there's gonna be stuff. That's my fear as well. Australia is pretty safe and Canberra is even more so, but even my very paranoid about somebody breaking in with the audio video gear I have. Yeah, you know what? I mean, I live in quote unquote. Well, Dylan, how would you explain the neighborhood I live in?
It's a growing community. The culture is growing. Slow gentrification, very slow. But as Aiden and I have talked about, there are factors that will probably expedite that.
This property here is going to be ridiculous in a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's colorful. I love it. I prefer that it's very community oriented. Like everybody watches out for everyone else. You got some bad actors, as you do everywhere.
Yeah.
We don't lock our front door. I mean, nobody knows where I live on here, I hope. But yeah, like we don't lock our front door. We have two very loud dogs.
Well, that's your lock, right? I mean, but you don't lock the physical lock, but you've got a biological lock.
When I lived on the west end of Ottawa, which is kind of it was very, very waspy, white Anglo-Saxon, in case you're wondering. Very, very, it was upper scale. All the houses were close to like $750,000. Really, really nice. My car was broken into weekly. If I left the doors open, everything was cleared out of my car. Everything. Oh, every single time. I have never once had a person go into my car in this neighborhood, and I leave it unlocked by accident all the time. My wife has like midwifery gear, so like a bunch of like expensive gear in her car that not a single problem. So yeah, like it's worrisome. Like shit, it might happen one day when a bad actor decides they're going to be an asshole and they're going to walk in and destroy, take everything. But that's what I have insurance for. And like, I'm not super concerned. Like the biggest problem would be my camera. Like that's the thing that I'm like, oh my God, I cannot lose that. But it is what it is. You can't live too terrified of everything. Like lock and key is probably not going to happen. And like my goal is to get out of this basement and get an office. And I'm relatively close to that option. So my best angle is the back of my head. Yeah, I got like the neck rolls though. You know, when you're bald like me, the back of my head has like these. I wonder if you can see it from the
Little
side
folds.
profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you get these folds at the back of your head. Yeah, right there. I don't know if you can see that. Those folds.
Yeah.
Back of my head doesn't look as good as the front.
Yeah. Fair.
Just saying.
That's fair.
I doubt Elgato will lean into the higher end of video simply because their focus group is streamers, and the vast majority of us are using webcams because budget. It's interesting, Photo Elite. It's a good point, and this is one of the reasons why I started to back away from a lot of gaming stuff. Is gamers tend to not be worried about, like when I ripped the Elgato Wave mic, a new one in a review, because it's so blatantly bright and ugh. A lot of people are like, well, it sounds perfect, it's great. People aren't looking for sound quality.
No.
Gamers aren't looking for the best sound quality possible. I think there's a misunderstanding of what good audio quality is in the gaming community, which is perpetrated by a lot of high-end gamers with high-end gear, and producers behind them making them sound really freaking good.
Yeah.
Which has led to a lot of misconceptions about what you should be looking for as gamer gear. Like, frankly, a gamer with an SM58 can sound fantastic, but nobody's willing to talk about that. They would rather spend the money on a Wave DX microphone because look, name, all those things. So that's why I kind of backed away from a lot of that stuff. And yeah, there's budget, but there's also like, I mean, is there a need to have crystal clear audio as a gamer? Like, the biggest selling feature for gamers is a noise gate. Like, every gamer's like, yeah, but can it get rid of all the sound in my room? I'm like, do you have a marching band walking through your room?
Yeah, honestly. Like
how much sound do you have?
Yeah. Set up your space properly and it will save you so much time and frustration.
Yeah, like, well, not even setting up your space. Like, you have game audio happening while you're playing, right? Some of these guys have music playing at the same time, and I'm like, how much noise is in your room, man? Like, I remember I did the "Do you need a reflection shield" video, and somebody commented that even in a kitchen, my kitchen sounds better than a lot of their like gaming dens. And part of it is because I know how to use a microphone in a shitty environment. You're not yelling. Like, part of the problem with bad environments is when you raise your voice. And I just automatically don't raise my voice when I'm in a shitty environment.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, even that was a relatively quiet environment outside of the reflections, right? So it's like, I don't understand how bad people's environments are. King Paco, yes. Poor mic USB was Pod mic USB was sale for $160. The original pod mic was $80. Dude, that stuff's going to be coming around Boxing Day. Be vigilant on Boxing Day.
Oh, yeah,
there's still a lot of deals to be had. And frankly, I feel like in Canada specifically, Canada's a better spot for Boxing Day sales than Black Friday. I don't live in the US, and I know the US does have pretty decent Black Friday sales, but I know Boxing Day is at least as good. So don't worry, it's coming back around in very soon. Tommy, so many gamers also stream though. Not that it justifies $600 plus setups. Yeah, I mean, like, what you can do with a cell phone as a camera.
Yep.
You can use any cell phone as a webcam. They all have the software for it. Tyler, who does Minds of Madness, he uses his cell phone as his USB camera, and it looks fantastic. And he's got $150,000 studio, right? Yep. Like, that's, I think we lose sight of with bragging rights.
Yeah, well, right? Just and how attainable good quality content is, you know, like, I mean, we've got this tool, most of us in our pocket, that does everything that you needed to do and more, most likely. You just have to learn kind of where to look for it.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? It's interesting to note, like, this channel was run off of this camera for the longest time with 24 millimeter pancake lens, which is like a super cheap lens for it. And this is the Canon T7i. And this channel basically, it got almost to 20,000 subs with that setup. No, it's 15,000 subs, and then I got the Sigma 18-35, which is $1,000 lens. But like, you can do it with cheaper gear, but a lot of people get caught up in the this will make it better without realizing that it's not going to. And that streamers are really bad for that. Like, content is content, man. If your content sucks, you can have an Ari Alexa taking your video, man. It doesn't matter. If you're going to be shitty, you're going to be shitty. I do miss the bathroom audio checks. I've thought about, like, so I've done less reviews this year, and somewhat intentionally. And I know that's probably irking certain people. And I've actually had people comment on that. One of the reasons I've done that is because I want to be less dependent upon release cycles. The release cycles are great. Like when Rode puts a new product out, I want to have that product to be able to, like, yay, look, new product. Or like Ceramonic sending me stuff, or Sennheiser, like all those things I want to be a part of. But I also want to I want to have like conversations around other things. And I think that's really necessary in content creation. And like, I did the fake SM58 video, kind of bombed, not really. Like, it still got 1,100 views after the week. It's doing okay. But it's one of those things that's the kind of shit I want to do. I want to play with stuff like that. And I want to have a little bit more fun with stuff like that. And part of that is, like finding new ways new fun things to kind of unexpected things that people aren't going to expect. I mean, that kind of started out with Super Cardioid Man, where nobody expected that shit. And it's kind of turned into a meme on our Discord. People still put that GIF up. But yeah, like that's the kind of stuff, like the bathroom stuff that started kind of as a joke. And then, I did it a couple times. It's funny.
Became a thing.
But it's trying to find new ways to do it and trying to not let everything get stale. Yeah. And I think maybe I get stuck on that a little too often, but I kind of like it. Most streamers' problem with noise is their mother walking above their head. Darn you, mom. Why do you always decide to do dishes when I stream? Yeah, like my wife makes pizza while I'm doing this live stream. But also, like, if you're a streamer and you're 17, of course your mom's going to be doing stuff while you're streaming.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think people can hear it. I mean, unless your mom's vacuuming your room while you stream.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like your wife's done vacuuming while we've been on the stream a few times. I can vaguely remember hearing just the...
Yeah, no, she did that, I think, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I think Deity has a sale on right now, but probably only Northern Hemisphere. Really? Deity? See, Deity is something that I really want to get into more Deity products. They're fantastic. Nope, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Deity microphones, DSLR microphones. They do a lot of wireless, and wireless that not beyond the reach of this channel. They got the PR2 audio recorder. Ooh, I should reach out to them and get that. I like that. That kind of fits the whole wireless theme of what's been going on over the past couple weeks. The digital UHF. See, and that's the UHF stuff that I would love to get into. I want to see how the rest of the wireless audio goes over the next couple months, because there's a lot of it coming out. Like I said, the Sennheiser and all that stuff. And I'm sure there's others, like the DJI I want to get. So we'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, I think I might start branching into the Sennheiser stuff and the more UHF stuff that's not 2.4 gigahertz based. Photo Elite. Yeah, I see a lot of high-end quote-unquote gamers with SM7B and a freaking Sony A7R4, which is amazing, don't get me wrong, but 99% of their stuff would be fine with half the price tag. Yeah, like A7C2, which is more than this channel. I just wanted 4K for this channel. And I actually like the way 4K comes off on this channel. Dylan, as you've been doing more video, you've probably noticed a difference when you're just using 1080, eh? Like it's not quite as...
There's like I still, so I've started, even if I'm dealing with 1080 source footage, I still, my project settings are always 4K now, which my video card hates.
Yeah.
But it's I like the crispness, even again dealing with 1080p footage. If I can see, my camera's issue is it goes from DX to micro four thirds. It goes from APS-C down even tighter. Now with this new Sigma, with this 18 to 35 here, that's not as much of a problem as it used to be, but it still it sort of brings me back to the same issue I had before with my 50 mil, which is placeability, right?
How far away is it from you with the micro four thirds? like to get a talking headshot?
Well, I mean, I usually don't like it having it all the way out. Let's see. Right now, it's at like 24 ish.
I kept that
So
fucker at 18 the whole time. Like it's at 18 right
not a
now
micro
here.
four thirds. Well,
Oh,
and I don't like a fisheye. It still does. It's not as pronounced,
yeah.
but it still distorts the center image, center stuff
Yes.
image.
Yep. It very much
And
does.
which is inevitable, right? At when you get down to those kind of close to fisheye, focal lengths, it's a kind of you have to have really expensive glass not to distort that stuff.
Yep.
Um,
It's funny, Photo Elite, because I have one of my favorite streamers, Brian Menard. He when I first started watching him, he had like an $800 condenser mic. And it sounded great. It was great. But then all of a sudden, I forget what went wrong on his setup. It was probably a cable or something. And he basically started using a freaking $99 USB mic, and nobody complained. He actually grew up over 100,000 subs with that little USB mic. I don't know what he's using now. He probably uses something like the MKH 416 or something, because I don't think I see his microphone on screen when he's doing it. But like, dude's got 150,000 subs now, and like for a good portion of that growth between 50 and 125, dude was using a $99 mic. Like, if your product's good, man, your product's gonna be good. I like the fake SM58 video. I loved the concept of that, because the story of it changed. Like when I initially started the idea of putting that video together, and I was going to like order it, and I was going to do the usual, like, can you tell the difference between this mic and this mic? But then the story that came from it, because the mic kind of fooled me at first. And then when you hear it at the end, you're like, oh crap. Yeah. How could that is not an SM58. That video was, I really loved doing that video. That was a lot of fun for me. I don't care how well it does. It'll do well over time. I think I might have to like update the thumbnail or something like that. But yeah, it's still doing okay. Oh, to be 17 again. Amen to that, man. Does Dylan need an anamorphic lens?
That's funny.
There's,
I mean, I don't know. Is it an expense that I should? No. The answer is no. But it would be cool. It would be a cool piece of kit to have some kind of special tools like that in the video toolbox. But I'm not a DP. I'm not a cinematographer. So, I don't need that stuff. If somebody wants to drop an anamorphic lens on my lap or anything of that ilk, I'll happily take it. But it's as far as things, especially right now, things I need to be spending money on, that's not on the list.
Yeah, I like the lenses you have are fine. The micro four thirds is a little annoying, but
well, and that's only for 4K. Again, I can operate 1080p at regular DX crop, which is more than doable, on any focal length that this guy has.
But it's also the fact that 1080p is fine. Like I went up to 4K because I felt like I could justify it. I actually, one of the big pushes I wanted for this was going to NABO last year. I wanted to have a camera that was 4K. So if I did have to punch in when I'm, standing outside of, I'm 10 feet away from something and I can't get close to it, I wanted to be able to punch in without fear of having like extreme pixelation on everything. And while I didn't run into that issue, like the idea that I had 4K for doing this it's been fantastic. My green screen that I pull down, the 4K has saved my ass on that a few times. And every once in a while after I do these streams, I forget to switch it back to 4K, and I'll shoot a whole video in it, and then I literally trash it. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do the punch-ins. It's too fuzzy for me, man. I can't do it. I have some of that really expensive glass sitting in my bag.
Nice.
I wish I had more glass. I really, like, I would love a 35 for this camera. This is the 20 millimeter, which is super wide. Like this is, there we go. This is how wide. Can you see that, Dylan?
No, I'm not on the page at the moment.
This is how wide my 20 millimeter is without.
You showed me these. Yeah.
And I would love to shoot more 20 millimeter like this, but I find it like it's now, what's the point? Like, what am I trying to bring into play? What's on my desk? Like I can easily take this, bring it down and show what's on my desk. There we go.
And you're in the frame too, almost, which is perfect.
Well, I can bring this up a little bit more. There. And you can see what's on my desk. Sure. Do I have anything I'm not allowed to be showing you guys here? I don't think so. No, I don't. Okay, so like I can show what's on my desk, and yeah, that's great and all that stuff, but why? Like I do top-down shots for that stuff. So like this kind of to me was, I thought I needed the 20 millimeter. I thought that was going to be a great thing for the channel. It wasn't. I don't need an ultra wide lens. I also forgot how much of a difference between crop sensor on this. This is an 18 to 35 at the same distance at this 20 millimeter. That is like this. So to give you an idea, this is 20 millimeter on a full frame. This is 18 to 35. Let's make sure that's fully, there we go. That's fully zoomed out on an 18 millimeter. On a crop sensor, that is 20 millimeters, technically a tighter crop on a full frame. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like the difference between the two is just night and day. So, all right, we got, oh, wow, I missed a bunch. My next big, well, I cannot type or not. My next big investment in terms of glass is going to be the Canon 24 to 105 2.8. Yeah, I thought about going back to Canon for my secondary camera. I don't think I'm going to. There are cheap HDMI splitters that can take 4K in, one 4K out, and 1080p downscale to the second one out. I use one of those for my setup. Nice. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea at all. Yeah, I've thought about using HDMI splitters. I haven't gotten to the point where I need it yet. Hopefully one day I don't need that and I can just like pay for what I need. Hopefully the R5 Mark II body. Oh God, that is a big expense. The R5 was like $5,000 in Canada. Lenses for Sony full frame are so expensive. I'm hoping to buy a Zeiss and a full frame Sony next year. Currently use Sony APS-C, which are okay, but the Sigma lenses are priced nice for crop sensor. Yeah, I love Sigma. This on this kid, the Sigma is fantastic. This is the Art 18 to 35, fantastic camera lens. The Sony ones aren't that bad. Like the Sony G series are about as expensive as the Canon ones. I don't find them to be that bad. The Zeiss are nice. Zeiss apparently are really good glass. I've yet to use them though. We got to go soon. It's after 6 o'clock. The new iPhone can do that split view with the desk and the headshot at the same time. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, this is the new iPhone. This is 16 Pro.
Nice.
That's actually a pretty good idea. That'd be fun. To Siri with love. Yeah, indeed. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's that. All right. So that's probably going to be it. Watch for the best gear of 2024 coming out in a bit. Just join. Any thoughts on the Roadcaster video? Gapes. I'm guessing that's how you say your name. Or Gapes. Gapes? Gapes? Anyways, we'll be here all day if I try to do that.
GAIPS. Let's go with that.
Roadcaster video is fantastic. It is a one of a kind, something you're not going to be able to find with the integration of audio and video. Of course, you have all of the things Rode has learned about doing preamps over the past 7 years or so. And of course, yeah, their video, the converters on it, everything. I don't see much of a competitor for it while everybody else is yelling at me about Blackmagic gear. This is until people start releasing it with preamps. And the fact that this thing works with Roadcasters, so you can plug in a Roadcaster for more inputs and stuff like that. That was weird. I think my phone just hung up on something. Yeah, did I call somebody? No, that was weird. I got a lot of weird stuff. Yeah, so the Roadcaster video is in a class all its own. It's expensive. That is the only bad thing I can say about the Roadcaster video. It's a professional. It's meant for doing church services. It's meant for doing large-scale podcasts that are making money. If you have the money for the Roadcaster video, as we stand right now in 2024, there's nothing that equals it for what it has.
Yeah.
Can you put together a similar thing for cheaper? I don't think so. Not with the 2 preamps going in. And I don't think you could do a cheaper one than what this gives you. So I don't know. For me, I think it's one of the best on the market. So,
yeah.
Check out secondhand KH camera. Okay. We're going to call that. Oh, Outsider Jess Bought a PS5 face cam. All I need is lighting. Nice.
Nice.
You got a gaming channel, Jess? Yeah, feel free to post that. I'm kind of curious. I wonder how many gamers we have. I know we have a couple of them. One is not here. Action Popcast, I think, does gaming. No, Action Popcast is movies. I know we have a couple gamers in chat. So FX9. Yeah, Beresford, that would be a sweet camera. All right, guys, have yourself a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week. December 12th is next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next week, Dylan, you got the week off.
I already do.
I meant from this, but yeah, ouch. I love you, man.
Hey, twist the knife, why don't you?
Yeah, twist the fucking knife. Yeah, so I believe we're gonna be having the big live stream next Friday. It's gonna be later. Watch for information. I'm gonna be putting out the thumbnail early, so you guys are gonna be able to see exactly who's coming on, as well as I believe it's gonna be 8 p.m. Eastern. So for some of you guys that are on the other side of the world, this might be a rough one for you, but it probably isn't gonna be one you want to miss. So
I'll still be around. I'm just not going to be on this side of the glass. I'll be in the comments trolling.
Oh yeah, troll as much as you want. That'd be great.
Sweet.
All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.